every black kid in the world will at some stage experience racism. That's just a fact.
Hi, and welcome to my documentary. I have chosen to explore the theme of racism in sport, as this is something I am passionate about raising awareness of. At the time of picking a topic for this documentary, the Euros were taking place, and I was constantly seeing news articles of racist incidents during the games. I even witnessed some when watching them, but more specifically England games. Each round that would take place, I would see news articles about players being booed for taking the knee and sometimes racially abused during the game. The biggest incident, in my opinion, would be after the final. England faced Italy, and after the game finished 1-1, it went to penalties. During this, 3 England players missed their penalties, causing Italy to be crowned the winners. The 3 players that missed were Bukayo Saka, Marcus Rashford, and Jadon Sancho. Almost instantly, they began receiving racist abuse on their social medias. Racism has taken a sharp rise in football, with racist incidents in English football rising by 43% in 2020. On October 14, 2019, England faced Bulgaria in a Euro qualifier. The game was filled with racist chants towards the English players, with the game being stopped multiple times. The first time the game was stopped was in the 26th minute, after the referee had been made aware of racist chants towards Raheem Sterling. An official announcement was made to the crowd as a first warning. The game was stopped again in the 42nd minute after racist chants continued. A second warning was given, and it was discussed that the players may walk off the pitch if the chants continued. A similar event to this happened earlier in the year when England faced Montenegro in another Euro qualifier. Throughout the game, racist chants were heard directed towards several England players. After the game, Gareth Southgate said that he had heard the abuse and planned to report it to UEFA, while the Montenegro coach claimed that he had not heard the abuse himself. The UEFA decided to fine Montenegro €20,000, which is equal to £17,253, with the English players stating that they didn't think the punishment was harsh enough. The charges of the fine included setting off fireworks, throwing objects, crowd disturbances, and blocking stairways, showing that they weren't actually charged for the racism. The most recent example in an English game was when England faced Hungary in a World Cup qualifier on September 2nd, 2021. Throughout the game, Hungary fans were seen directing racism towards the English players. After Raheem Sterling's goal, he ran to celebrate and was greeted by the Hungary fans throwing cups at him and onto the pitch. Later on in the game, a flare was seen to be thrown from the Hungary fans onto the pitch, nearly hitting the players. As well as this, banners could be seen in the crowd stating that the Hungary fans did not agree with the English players taking a knee. After the game, it was decided that Hungary's punishment would be that they would have to play a set amount of games behind closed doors and also received a fine. Other sports received just as much racism as football. An example of this would be in the Formula 1 at the 2021 British Grand Prix. In the first lap of the race, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen made contact going into turn 9. This led to Max spinning off the track and crashing into the barriers, forcing him out of the race. As a result of this, Lewis went on to win the race, while Max had to go to hospital for precautionary checks. After the race, Lewis Hamilton celebrated his win due to it being his home race. A while later, it was confirmed that Lewis had received racist abuse to his social media, as some people deemed his celebration unsportsmanlike and disrespectful as he celebrated while Max was at hospital. In my opinion, I did not see a problem with Lewis's celebration, as he did not know Max was in hospital, and he was only there for precautionary measures. I also believe that any driver would have celebrated a win at their home race in the exact same way. Due to the rise in racism in sport, there are already some existing campaigns that have been set up to help fight the racism. Kick It Out is a campaign in football which fights for equality and inclusion. This was founded in 1993, but is still being used today for each football game, with players sometimes wearing t-shirts for it. No Room for Racism is more specifically for the Premier League, which works with the FA, EFL, PFA, Kick It Out and the police to tackle racism on and off the pitch. This was launched in 2019. We Race as One is a Formula 1 campaign set up in 2020, aiming to tackle a wide variety of issues facing the sport and global communities. Finally, the Hamilton Commission is a campaign specifically set up by Lewis Hamilton in 2021 to work towards improving the representation of black people in UK motorsport.
What do you think of the current anti-racism campaigns?
The Kick It Out t-shirt and the Kick It Out campaign, something that growing up, I've always been easygoing with and to put the shirt on and everything, but sometimes, you know, you do sit there and think, do I really want to put this t-shirt on? We need to push it more than how I think we are pushing it.
Despite these campaigns already being set up and some sports athletes taking a knee, I feel like we can still do more to help the fight against racism. I carried out some interviews with other sports fans to ask for their opinion on the topic.
It's particularly all sports nowadays, and it's a big problem.
Unfortunately, I think it's impossible to get away from racism in football or any sports, I'm afraid.
Personally, for me, fortunately, I've never experienced it in person at a stadium, but I've seen it actually on live TV. There's been a few cases, particularly recently with I knew a West Brom fan. He got a lifetime ban, and the first person ever to get put in prison, I think it was about 8 weeks or something, he got in prison for this guy called Simon, I believe, one of the West Brom players called Romain Sawyers. Like, he came out and wanted to make a message, like push it forward and actually do something about it for once. And he's got the first prison sentence. So I believe that's a great step forward.
Thankfully, I've never witnessed racism actually being at a sporting event, thankfully. But unfortunately, I think we've all heard it on television. We've all heard England games where, unfortunately, other countries and other fans from other countries, should I say, feel the necessity to racially abuse our players, but just because of the colour of their skin.
Yeah, I'm well aware. Obviously, there's one taking the knee, or for the ones who don't take the knee, it's up to make a stand to it. Obviously, kick it out, the racism. Pick the Premier League, kick it out. Say no to racism. There's plenty of groups.
Yes, I'm aware. Kick it out, say no to racism, just to name but two. There are multiples.
I think that's all right. I mean, I think it's a personal choice as long as if you're not taking a knee, it's a lot of people mentioned, like, say, making a stand for racism. It's you can sort of bring a message out with standing as well for it. So I think that's fine, really. People who do it as well.
It's a difficult one because I don't believe not taking the knee shows anything bad. I don't think it shows you to be a racist or to be someone who doesn't understand what racism means. As long as you're taking the knee for the right reason, or not taking the knee and you have legitimate reasons in your own mind, then it's okay, because the whole point of taking the knee, it has to be a personal thing. There's no point browbeating someone into taking the knee if they don't understand the concept of what they're taking the knee for.
Definitely. I mean, there is a talk a lot, isn't there, of when you're signing up to these sites, Instagram, Facebook, etc., of providing an ID, and everyone's screaming out to these companies to do it, and they're just not getting around to it. And that would solve everything, because obviously, given an ID, you can't be a troll or have a fake account. It's your identity's there. So I think it's so easy to stop the problem, and they're just not doing it for some reason.
I think there could always be more done. What that is, it's weird, because I always feel there could be more done, but unfortunately I don't exactly know what all the different options could be. But I think proof is in the pudding that we have these programs about stamping out racism, but yet we're not even denting the surface of people who want to be racist. So I feel there could be more done, yes, but what, I'm not 100% sure.
Through carrying out my research and interviewing other sports fans, I was able to widen my knowledge on racism in sport and learn about other people's opinions. Both interviewees knew a lot about the existing campaigns that are working to fight racism, showing that the campaigns are being used widely, suggesting that they are actually helping. The most known campaign seemed to be Kick It Out, implying that football is playing a big part in the fight. However, both interviewees did believe that more could be done to further help the fight, with one even suggesting a solution that they think would help. So, that leaves us with one question. Could more actually be done to help the fight against racism?